I was 16 years old when I got pregnant with Gloria. Typical teenage person in the inner city. I was determined to do differently for her that was done for me. Just a determination to get her through that maze called life as an inner city young lady.
Yvonne Pointer believed her 14-year-old daughter Gloria could survive the maze of inner city if she stayed in school.
Always at her school, always making sure she was there and doing the right thing. She was a 9th grader at Henry Davis, cheerleader. She had finally made the basketball team. She was so excited about that.
And Gloria never missed a day.
On December 6, 1984, she was so excited. She was getting a Perfect Attendance Award. I remember that day as if it was yesterday because it was a terrible snowstorm. It was one of those days in Cleveland where the snow just came from nowhere. So I can remember her saying she didn't want to mess up her hair because she was getting this award by putting on a hat. I said, "You're going to put this hat on because it's kind of bad outside." So she left, walking to school, what she does every day.
But Gloria never made it there.
When they called her name to come and get the award, she didn't come to the stage. So that's when they came and called me to see if she was home. And I said, no, she left home going to school. I said, well, maybe she's somewhere in the building. Just go find her. So the next call I got was from the principal. And he said, I think you should call the police.
A few hours later, priests were knocking at Yvonne's door.
They said to me when they walked in to sit down. And I said, sit down for what? They said, we found a body. The first thing I remember doing was passing out. And so I'm thinking to myself, why are you on the floor? Get up. And I just kind of jerked myself up. I said, because they didn't say it was Gloria. They just said they found a body.
But the body was Gloria. When she left for school, she walked into the path of a killer.
There was a lot of snow that day, so they saw the 2 tracks leading to this place and the 1 set of tracks leading out. It indeed was her body, that she had been sexually assaulted and left at the bottom of a stairwell.
In 1984, Gloria Pointer was one of 4 teenage girls murdered in Cleveland, Ohio within 3 months.
I just stood over the casket and I pulled the cover back and I'm just trying in my mind to wrap my brain around what had happened. I was trying to be so careful to get her through the maze. I thought about everything that had went into this life for it just to end up in a casket. It just did not make sense. So I said, well, Gloria, I promise you this as I stood and looked in the casket. It's not going to be in vain. I promise you.
At that moment, a mother who lost a child vowed to save others.
What I realized was that someone had to protect children. And I started looking for the person that would do it. Over a period of time, I became the person who I was looking for.
Yvonne went to schools to talk about what happened to Gloria and to teach children how to stay safe through the Stranger Danger program. She helped form the city's Midnight Basketball League to give kids a safe place to play.
That's God. That's God. That's God.
And Yvonne became an inspirational voice for child safety and for families victimized by violent crime.
Even my journey, my process began with a lot of pain. And the further back I went, it was very painful.
Please welcome Mrs. Camille Cosby.
Yvonne's work to save children put her in the national spotlight, and she received numerous honors from around the country, including the Essence Award.
Mommy, speak for me. Tell the world of the pain that I felt with the blow to my head as my body was left lying in the rain. I accept this Essence Award on tonight on behalf of every innocent child that lies in a premature, cold, and isolated grave. I don't stand here in glory, but I stand here between pain and joy. Sometimes we take for granted this precious thing called life. We assume that it is guaranteed to us, but I tell you tonight, it is a gift. And if we don't start acting like it, God is going to reveal himself to each and every one of us. Our children had a right to live. Our children had a right to live. No one has a right to take another life. But don't hear me. Hear the cries from those cold graves. Thank you.
She appeared on Oprah Winfrey's talk show and many others. And her story was featured in several national magazines like Heart and Soul. Yvonne used the money from speaking across the country and from writing several books to establish the Gloria Pointer Scholarship Fund to help kids like Gloria stay in school. But that's not all.
The more I got to speak and sell books, the more I talked about the miracle of Anthony finding the paper.
Fast forward to 2003, 19 years after Gloria Pointer's murder, to Ghana, West Africa.
There was a boy in Ghana, West Africa, that was questioning the existence of God.
His name is Anthony Tay. He's 17 years old, and he's very poor.
I have nobody to help me.
He's saying to God, you can't be real, because I'm hungry enough to die. Don't have no food and no money for school. And while he was telling God he didn't exist, he looked down on the ground and there was a piece of paper in Africa about Gloria Pointer's homicide.
I was walking along the road and I saw a little paper containing the story of Gloria and her mom.
It was the story published in Heart and Soul magazine 7 years earlier.
He found the paper in 2003, Donovan. It was written in 1996. So 7 years, this paper had been somewhere. But it found itself on the ground at his feet when he said to God, prove it.
It wasn't even the whole page. It was just a corner of it that had just enough, my picture and a little bit, but in the bottom was my mailing address, my P.O. box, at the feet of a boy who's looking up to heaven and saying, why don't you help me? And so I can see God saying, I need somebody to help him. But who would do it? Yvonne will.
I thought of it for some time and something touched me that why not I write this lady.
A few weeks later, Yvonne received this letter from Anthony in the mail.
I went to my post office box and I received an envelope from Ghana, West Africa. Well, I didn't know anyone from Ghana, so I was going to throw it away when the thought came to my mind, and I knew it was God that said, open it.
I wrote and told her how I found the little paper on the street because it doesn't contain the whole story, but just a few this thing. So I wrote her and tell her about the story, how I got the paper, and if she can give me an aid to further my education.
To make sure his story was real, Yvonne wrote back to Anthony and asked for proof.
The first thing I did, thank you, was ask him to send the paper that he found. If you found a piece of paper on the ground about Gloria Pointer, show it to me. And sure enough, a few weeks later, here comes this dirty, crumpled, wrinkled piece of paper.
At that moment, a relationship began between Yvonne and Anthony that would not only change their lives, but many others.
So it started out simple, wiring him money for food. And he was in school. We were able to pay what they call the school fees because there's no free education there. So if children wanted to go to school, they need someone to help.
The more money Yvonne raised here, the more children she helped there.
I sent books, and they would send back pictures where they're in front of hundreds of kids holding the books up, or they had bags of rice that we were buying, and they showed the kids with the rice, and they were documenting everything that they did.
Yvonne's donations also helped Anthony continue his mission in Africa.
He was in Africa working with children. Like I'm in Cleveland working with children, and he was only 17.
Anthony traveled to villages to educate teens, especially young girls, about rape, HIV, and AIDS. A year after help started coming from Yvonne, Anthony had a dream.
He said he was asleep one night when God told him to name what he was doing in memory of Gloria.
I was praying about this for some time, about 3 weeks, and later I decided that I would like to form the Yvonne Pointer team.
They were going throughout this country speaking in Gloria's name.
Gloria Pointer, we say sorry for the atrocities you faced in life.
And singing about Gloria's homicide, a teen from Cleveland who became the symbol of a movement in Africa, that every child has the right to good health, education, and a violence-free society.
Gloria died, so Anthony can find the paper, so the people in Africa could be helped.
This was going on for 5 years, nonstop, before they invited me to come to Africa. Every year at the anniversary of homicide, they would have a big celebration. And everything was fine except I didn't have the money to go.
That's when Yvonne received a call from actress Queen Latifah's camp that she had been nominated for the Corvation Award.
They had 5 women from around the country who were making significant impacts in their community. So they flew all 5 of us there
to a ceremony in New York where the Corvation winner would receive a $15,000 award.
I was thinking as I sat there, I said, you know, God, if I win this, then I'll have money to go to Africa. And so when she went to the microphone, she announced that I was the winner.
We're in Amsterdam waiting to go on to Ghana.
With the money she won, Yvonne joined a group organized by a college administrator for a 12-day tour of Ghana. There, she would meet Anthony Tay face to face and see how he's keeping Gloria's legacy alive.
God bless you, everyone. I bring you greetings from Cleveland, Ohio, in the United States of America.
Yvonne was the special guest as Anthony Tay and people from several villages gathered to celebrate the Gloria Pointer teen movement.
On December 6, 1984, my 14-year-old daughter was raped and murdered. But since then, God has given me so many children around the world, including Anthony Tay and members of the Gloria Pointer teen movement.
From speeches, including a dramatic reading from Yvonne's book, Mommy, Speak for Me.
Maybe you can get someone to tell you why children are abused in the world today. Mommy, speak for me.
To dancers and rappers, with Yvonne joining in. To Yvonne's presentation of gifts.
Our school activity. Thank you very much.
It was a celebration of an answer to Anthony's prayer.
I think at that moment it just hit him that all of this is real. You know, here's this.
God really answered his prayer.
God answered his prayer. Somebody, somewhere, bigger than you and I, put that paper on the ground in Africa just to prove to a little child that yes, I do exist. Yes, I do care that you are hungry. And yes, I will feed you. that simple. Yes, I will. Even if I have to go all the way to America to get somebody to do it.
It reminded Yvonne of what Gloria would say when she was alive.
My mother will do it. Those are her exact words. When they needed somebody, oh, my mother will do it. Anthony needs somebody to feed him. My mother will do that. My mother will do it.
Yvonne Pointer, a mother who lost a child, fulfilling her vow to save others in Gloria's name.
What I know to be a fact is that promise that was made over the casket is being fulfilled. That her death is not in vain.
Say goodbye.
Anthony Tay's prayers were answered, and after nearly 30 years, Yvonne Pointer would finally get an answer to her prayers.
Hernandez Warren.
In May of this year, Hernandez Warren was arrested and charged with aggravated murder in Gloria Pointer's death. Rape kits that sat in police storage for years were finally sent to the state crime lab for DNA testing, and Warren was linked to the crime.
It is such an emotional high and a devastating low.
I talked to Yvonne shortly after Warren was arrested.
Ultimately, I felt as if that information would provide me with this great sense of closure, when in actuality, it opened up more questions. Now, my initial desire is to speak to that individual, you know.
What would you say to her?
I would want to ask more questions. You know, was she afraid? Did she call for me? Why? If maybe this person holds a clue for what we can look for in a next case to prevent it from happening.
For now, Yvonne reflects on her journey since Gloria's death.
There were days when I said, that's enough. But every time I reached those depths and those lows, God would do something so miraculous, like the kids in Africa, or Queen Latifah, or Oprah Winfrey, or Denzel Washington, until I would dust myself back off and say, okay, I can go a little further. It was one step at a time.
And what would her daughter think?
You know, when she was a little girl, she was always volunteering me in her school for something. And her famous line was, my mother will do it. So I can see her up there now saying, I told you my mother would do it. Who's got next?
Next is the Gloria Pointer Teen Movement Education Center being built in Ghana, West Africa. Yvonne was there when ground was broken in January. It's set to open in 2014. I'm Lorna Barrett with news for your soul.